Yeah, so hello everybody. I am Deacon David with the Gnostic Union. Very proud to be here. And today we're going to be talking about a discussion I had sort of came to my spirit is, we live in a world today that is, but depending on where you are in the world, I'm here in America. I'm a black man in America, so we live in polarized political times. We have the rise of people say the rise, quote unquote, rise of Christian nationalism. Me being in America, I kind of always kind of feel like it's been there, but we see more of a push to kind of get it. So ultimately, this discussion is how do we as Gnostics, belonging to various, coming according to the flesh and blood, human beings, belonging to specific ethnic groups that comes with all the religion and the spirituality and the customs and the culture that comes with it. How do we as Gnostics navigate being proud of where we come from, owning where we come from, but at the same time, too, keeping that middle ground with the Gnostic message, which is ultimately this really isn't our home in that, in that aspect. So how do we manage? How do we go about that? I know for
And
me, oh,
I'll let you continue, my bad.
oh, well, I know for me, like I said, this subject is really important to me because, like I said, and when I say being a black man in America, I know that this is probably pretty much around the world, but just to make my experience very specific because I don't want to like keep a broad, everybody, but so very specific to my experience here in the United States of America, being a Gnostic and coming into this in this knowledge in the gnosis on the path of gnosis, coming from a space where I was like I think I've spoke about this last time, coming from a space where I was originally, born and raised a Christian, wanted to be a pastor, left Christianity, got more into African spirituality, which is a broad thing. It is not one specific thing. There are many religions within African spirituality, many spiritual thoughts and philosophical thinking and stuff like that. But so specifically coming out of into the Hebrew Israelite left that, and then transition into ancient Kemet and Kemetic spirituality, which still holds a high degree within my life, and going into especially being a Seth, well, going more into the Sethian school of Gnosticism. Ancient Egypt plays a part. Historically, it does. But coming into that, and then going back and revisiting the teachings of Jesus and around my peers who are mostly into African spiritual religions, and not only African spiritual religions but fundamentalist Christianity here in America, they see me and they're you posting this Jesus stuff and what's going on? Are you a Christian again, or are you? And I was like, no, I'm a Gnostic. I'm going more to an earlier form of Christianity, if you will. Even though I hate saying that, but just for lack of a better term, earlier Christianity before it became the Catholic and Orthodox Church. We see this thing where, and I was inspired by here in the Nag Hammadi scriptures. One of my favorite Sethian Gnostic texts is Austrianos. And in this text, and we see this thread throughout a lot of Gnostic texts. We even see a little bit in the secret book of John, where in the secret book of John, in the beginning, John goes to the temple, and a Pharisee comes to him, and now this is after the resurrection of Jesus, comes to him and was like, where is that teacher that you was following? And one of the things that really I paid attention to, and he said it was very specific. He said, yeah, he's filled your ears with lies, and he's turned you against the traditions of your ancestors. And in the book Zastrianos, we see this thing where Zastrianos is having this thing in his spirit and his soul is where he's questioning reality. He's questioning what's going on. Like a lot of us that go and find our way into any school of Gnosticism, we have different cosmologies, different theological things here and there, but we do kind of see a bridge within more of a commonality in Gnosticism of what, then we kind of see with all the multiple denominations now of Christianity. We still see this thing that something's not right. We begin to question something. Our culture, the where we come from, the way we've doing things, it just doesn't land. It's not doing it for us no more. And we see this in Zastrianos. He says, and I'll read it here, Zastrianos, he says, Now, this is the Non-Communist Scriptures. Of course, you can get this on Amazon. It's widely published, edited by Marvin Meyer. But we see here, and it says, seeking to understand these things after the custom of my kind, or it could be translated my people. I will offer them up daily to the God of my fathers. I will praise them all since my forefathers and ancestors who saw it found. As for me, I did not stop seeking a place of rest worthy of my spirit, where I would not be bound in the perceptible world. Then, as I was deeply troubled and gloomy because of the feeble mindedness that surrounded me, I dared to act and to deliver myself to the wild beasts of the desert for a violent death. So we see Zastrianos. His quest for knowledge almost drives him to deleting himself in so many words. But one of the things I really liked about this is that he still says that I still did the customs of my people. I still offered up daily the offerings to the gods of my forefathers and the ancestors. There's nothing new under the sun, as the Bible puts it. And I think sometimes we like to think that our world is so different than the ancients that came before us. We look back to the ancients. We scour all these books. I even got this the other day, the other Bible. We scour all these ancient texts and trying to find out like what's that secret ingredient I'm missing? What's that secret thing that's just gonna revolutionize my mind and bring me into gnosis? And we have to realize that it's the same world. We live in that same world. The only difference is I feel like is that we have better technology. We can become a little bit more lazier than our ancestors held or afforded to. But this still this quest for gnosis, this thirstiness that we even see in the New Testament, the canonical Gospels, where Jesus is always saying that I'll give you, I'm the water of life. I'll come to me. If you're thirsty, you will quench your thirst. We see this, and that's because during the ancient times, rivers and fresh water sources were fundamental to survival. Now we really don't have to worry about that. You know what I'm saying? You could live right next to a beach with nothing but an ocean of salt water, but still have clean water to drink, and you don't have to worry about it. But in the ancient world, that was a very different type of thing. You had to live, whether it was the Nile River, the Mesopotamian River, or the Jordan River. You see that these rivers always hold a very like reverent, holy thing to these people because that was literally the source of life for them. Not to get too off into that, but going back to the original thing, Zostrianos, he's starting to question, but he still knows that he's doing the things of his ancestors. He's doing the things of his forefathers. And when we start to question, okay, what's going on? Why is this world the way it is? And we go into this message of gnosis. How do I, as a black man in America, that has this very specific history with slavery, chattel slavery, the black church, growing up in all these things, and holding on tightly and dearly these things that even give me a sense of identity, a sense of belonging. Because let's keep it real, we're human beings. We want to belong. I don't care how much, in my opinion, I don't care how much gnosis or how we go off into the stars. There's still a anchor that we have to have here on the earth to a certain extent. We just have to keep it real. My tattoos and stuff like that, I make it very known that I know my history here in America as a black man. But how do I, as a Gnostic now, or how am I on this road of Gnosticism? How do I say to myself, I see my people suffering or going through, I won't say suffering, but I see my people fighting for something. I see the polarization of thought. I see all these ideologies and I see all these ways of thinking and I see this is wrong and that's right or that's right, this is wrong. But you still feel like a stranger. And again, we see this concept through the Gnostic text of feeling almost like a stranger to the world, even though you do both come from, you just come out the ground nowhere. You came from a lineage. You have certain type of blood running through your veins. Um, I believe in the Gospel of Thomas, it even says that the children of God are, and I'm paraphrasing. It probably doesn't say exactly like this, but in so many words, is that the children of God are like children in a field that is not their own, and it really resonated with me because even though we belong to this world, we are of this world. We feel like as Gnostics. So How do you guys feel belonging to coming from very specific cultures? How do you bridge that gap between I know I'm a human being living on this earth? Because as Gnostics, I hate this. There's this misconception that as Gnostics, it's oh fuck the well, excuse my language, but forget the world. I don't want nothing to do with it. Forget all y'all. I'm just gonna go off in the mountains and meditate for the rest of my life. It's like no, we still navigate life, this world. We still navigate our cultures and our people and strangers and all everything. We still go to work. We still have to collect a paycheck. We still have to. So how do we navigate that as Gnostics?
Great question. And welcome, Bishop Lorenzo. He was just driving at the moment. Glad to see him. And culture, the beautiful thing, isn't an inherent delusion, but a vessel for which the divine spark can express itself. Even Jesus had to be the Galilean Jew
Right.
in order to bring his message. So he taught the goal was participation, not identification. And even nationalism itself is a very ancient thing, as we were discussing before recording. It's been entwined with politics, with religion itself, and of course, war, and also bringing people together, as well as division and a distraction of the people. So even Jesus says to fast from the world, fast from the noise of it, the political noise, the nationalist noise, or even the noise of the culture, to find rest within. So a kingdom within you, another world within you that is separate from this world, that in turn can influence this world. And even with Gnostic schools of thought, we talk about the archons, and they were also represented by political rulers. Not all the time bad, sometimes bad, or even influenced by evil beings that were called archons, or even they were the archons themselves, or even influenced by fallen angels or spirits, depending on the ancient Gnostic school of thought. So even Yada Baoth, or even Yahweh itself. So we even had, well, today we have actually Orthodox priests, which I've witnessed, and even Catholic and Protestant priests praying for the rulers of today, the politicians, and their service, or word I'm thinking about. There's a term of office that they pray for.
Yeah.
But Jesus didn't pray for Caesar and his soldiers over the poor. And sometimes they choose to honor these public figures over the poor, or over the community that they in turn pretend to represent or forget they represent. We live in this world, but Jesus also states to be in the world but not of it. And as you mentioned, we have a home beyond this place too, pleroma, heaven. But also this is found within us too, which is a beautiful thing that can in turn impact this world, so we can find rest in it. So Jesus also challenged the religious hierarchies of the time and the political rulers of his time. So he was one that rejected people's dogmatic approach over that of a spiritual relationship with God. So living worldly, live spiritually. Instead of being rich and hoarding your money, give some of it, help the people around you. So Gnosticism is the model of us that honors the divine awareness over social identity, which is a